Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have Natassia Lacerda, founder and owner of CREME DE LA CREME. Welcome, Natassia.
Hi Kimberly.
How are you this evening?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm so glad we finally got this opportunity to get things together. It has been a couple months since I met you previously, and I've been totally excited about getting this interview done because you have something as I would consider unique in its own right. So I'm really looking forward to you talking to the audience this evening and telling them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, me too. Thanks.
All right, so why don't you tell the listeners just a little bit about who you are and what you've been up to here lately?
Well, a little bit of good news. CREME de la CREME has been around since 2014, and I would like to proudly say that this year has been just a tremendous year of growth for us. I was able to quit my job and focus full-time on CREME de la CREME this year, and we've really skyrocketed with business. We've been able to meet and come across a lot of great people and have a lot of good connections and just be a part of a lot of special events. So we're just keeping on growing the team, growing the brand, and just working hard to make sure that we're making a difference.
All right. Well, I can honestly say when I met you at a friend's house, at Natalie's house for her pre-wedding, and I was just shocked. I was like, oh, where did this come from? And who is this person? I mean, I had never seen the concept, but it was awesome, and it was excellent to have something unique with having the service that you provide. So before we get into talking a little bit about your business, I want to kind of backtrack now. Are you originally from this area, or are you from somewhere else?
I'm actually born and raised California native from Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, so I made my way over to the East Coast, Maryland specifically, a little over 10 years ago. So it's home to me now.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good move. That's a completely different move.
Completely different move. We don't have snow over there, so yeah, it's not a big difference.
Yeah, it's definitely something to get used to around here, but at least it's not as bad as some other places because it's definitely, at least have a little more of a balance here when it comes to the seasons
right
around this area. So tell me, how did you get inspired to do this type of business, which like I said, we'll dive into a little bit more about CREME de la CREME with the bartending. How did you get into this?
Well, to be honest with you, I was working as a bartender at a very popular and very busy sports bar in Catonsville, Maryland. And it was awesome opportunity. I got to meet a lot of girls, a lot of bartenders. I learned a lot of my craft in that building and working for those customers. I've built a relationship with customers that's been long lasting. I was there for about 7 or 8 years, I would say. So I have a lot of clients that support me now and have supported me to grow and spread my wings and leave the business. But the initial thing that inspired me to branch off and stand on my own was that I was unhappy having to work for somebody who wasn't treating me or any of my other fellow coworkers properly. We had a really great time making drinks for the customers and doing our thing behind the bar and making people, awesome cocktails. But we were treated badly, spoken to, improperly, called names and just basically treated like we didn't really matter. And so I was kind of put at a crossroad as I was approaching my 30s to where The dollars were coming in really good, but I was miserable every time I came home, and I had to kind of sit down and think about what was important to me in life. And happiness will succeed money for me any day of the week. So it took me a little bit of time to turn my idea and blossom it into an actual functioning thing. But yeah, I was just unhappy. I still liked a lot of the the qualities that come from bartending and a lot of the aspects of it, but I was miserable bartending in that specific building. And as I jumped around from other bars to think, oh, well, maybe it's just this bar that's not, maybe I won't get treated like this. It was just always one thing after another as I jumped around from bar to bar and figured out that if I really want to be happy and I really want other girls that have the same kind of complaints and issues with bartending that I did, that I would have to create my own lane and figure out a different way for us to be able to still thrive as bartenders and still get the respect and still have the fun and the freedom and the creativity that we all naturally have as bartenders.
Right.
So yeah. So I started the business and brought some girls with me that felt the same way and have supported me, and I've been able to help them, and it's just been a blessing.
Yeah, it is. That is true. And I'm sitting up here listening, starting to think I love how you talk about the fact that you came to a turning point in your life and you said, you know what, I love what I'm doing, but I'm not going to do it under this realm,
Correct.
with all the negativity that comes with it. And when you realize that you're coming home every night and you're hating what you have to deal with every day, then you know it's time to make a move. And I love how you took your talent and you put all that talent and made it something worthwhile. And now here you are a few years later down the road and you're doing excellent and you're expanding and growing. So explain to me, in this field of business, being a bartender. Now I know, I think the new wording today is what do you call it? Mixologist today?
Yeah, mixologist. Yeah,
Okay.
we have we take a lot of different terms, but mixologist is definitely one of them.
Okay.
And basically, we were able to kind of specialize more about individually who we are and what we offer as Creme de la Creme, and then every bartender gets to shine individually on the team when they go and do an event. They can bring what they have to offer to the table and have a little bit more freedom. And that's kind of what inspires us to bring people on the team and allow people to showcase their creativity, because we don't want to although we do want people to have structure, we want them to feel, like they have creativity and freedom to be creative and be happy. I find that if people are happy doing what they do, then making drinks makes you happy, then I want you to make drinks the way that you make drinks. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have a team of mixologists that help create customized cocktail menus. So a lot of times our clients will come out and they have not the slightest idea about alcohol. They just know they like to drink it. Right. And
that's the easy part.
Yeah. And so what we like to do is just take some of their likes and dislikes and compile a cocktail menu specifically for each individual event and client. Okay. And people really tend to love that. And we let our team work that out. So they get to showcase their skills and talents by presenting cocktail menus, and then they get to go out in the field and actually create and make and serve them.
Wow, that's a great concept. So with the other mixologists and bartenders, or whatever is the best wording for it, but explain to me, do you guys have a certification program, or how do you determine who's certified or knows what they're doing being in this field?
We are working on being able to have some type of a boot camp where we offer certification for people, because as the business has started to grow, we've had a lot of people come and say, hey, I see what you guys do, or I came to one of your events, or I see your posts on Instagram, and I really want to be a part of it. And we welcome that. We welcome people that are enthusiastic about us and that see what we do and see how we move and want to be a part of the team. But there is certification required to be able to legally, serve events at events and whatnot. So there's already a lot of different classes out there. But they tend to be extremely expensive. So we're trying to look at a way and formulate a way that we can offer the same type of certification at a reasonable price, because we don't want girls to have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to join our team. We would like to make it as simple as possible, because we do spend a lot of time training them. The best way to get them trained is to get them to come out to an event and work side by side with us. So we're trying to make it, we like to empower other women. Most of our team, up until recently, all of the team has been women operated. It's already women owned, as you know, but it's been all operated by women, about 24 women on the team. Okay. we just got our last request for an event about 2 weeks ago, and they requested a male. So I went above and beyond to go and hire a male bartender just so that we could send them what they asked for.
Right. Well, they looking more for the eye candy side versus the drinks.
I guess so. I don't know what it was about them, but we made it happen.
Yeah, and I also like what you just talked about, the fact that, women empowering women, helping each other succeed in their goals. And, that's the thing that I entail about my organization, is that I work with all women. And that is the thing that I love, is that we empower each other. And the fact that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, something that you just created with this CREME de la CREME bartending program. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal down the road. I can visualize this even probably being a franchise somewhere down the road. And once
Absolutely.
Once you can figure out that certification process, I can see something like this really being extreme. And like you said, there are more and more women coming to you and saying, hey, I want to be a part of this, and having this opportunity to allow women to grow and doing something that they enjoy doing, and not having to feel like you always have to have your typical 9 to 5 or just even typical business.
Exactly.
This is a great business, and I like what you're doing, because at one point in time, some years ago, my family owned a business back in Danforth. We actually had a club, and I was one of the lead bartenders, and bartending is probably one of the most fun jobs I had ever had, as I looked at it as a job, but didn't really take it as serious until I really got into it and understood how important it was to service your customers and what they like and what they enjoy. And like you said, the average person thinks of a drink as just being a drink, but truly understanding what it takes to mix those drinks and then come up with your own concoctions that people really love. Yeah, it was a very interesting process. So to hear you talk about what these ladies are doing, it's been a blessing that you've been able to be around other women who are like-minded like you. They've done this business in the past. They've worked with other bars and stuff, and now here they are, a part of your organization. I think that's phenomenal what you are bringing out and providing for these other women. And like I said, reinventing the wheel for me is a huge thing. I don't think we need to do it. It's just understanding who you need to go to.
Right, exactly. And there's no greater feeling than the women when I get a call from a girl who said, thank you so much, I paid a bill with this, or I bought a stroller with this, or I got a new couch from the last 5 events I did with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And it just makes me feel really good that I'm able to just be a little part of every woman that's on the team's life, and to where it's a good, positive aspect and inspiration. And then that makes me feel really, really good. And I just want to continue to offer that for all new members and all current members.
Absolutely. So tell me about the challenges that you've had with this type of business.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother story.
We all have them. So.
Exactly. One of the beautiful things about dealing with bartenders and women is that we can change our minds a lot. And bartenders, the whole point of bartending is usually to be free-spirited and not be tied down to the 9 to 5, like you mentioned before. So I get it. But part of dealing with that when you're managing, 2 to 3 dozen bartenders is sometimes being able to just count and reliable and manage. Women tend to have emotions involved a lot of the time. And so somebody's having a bad day, or, can't get a babysitter, or is fighting with, someone else and doesn't feel like coming into work today, or doesn't want to come into work today, then I have to deal with that. And I have to be positive and try to have words of encouragement and structure to keep it a still fun place to be, but also a respected place that where if you give me your word that you're going to do something, that we expect you to do it. Absolutely. Bottom line. So it's been a struggle for me. I've never, I just grew into this position of being a leader and being the boss. It's always kind of been like my nature to be a leader, but to run a whole team and it's a team of adults. They're not children. So
that's right.
Everybody needs to be treated with respect. And then everybody in turn, hopefully, feels like they're respected and appreciated on the team. So it's a constant learning process for me to make sure that I'm always appreciative of what people do and that I'm holding people accountable for what they don't do. So it's just a constant growth pattern that I'm just learning to be the positive, role model that I can, to make sure that people feel the obligation, but not out of just feeling obligated, but feeling like they want to come through for me. They want to do what they want to keep their word. They want to work the shifts that they've scheduled to work because they care and it matters. So that's what I'm trying to create, so that I don't have to spend a lot of time, fussing or explaining myself or reprimanding anyone, because I'm not really out here to try to do that. I don't enjoy it.
Right.
I much rather have a system where people understand it, get it, respect it, and value it.
Exactly. Well, at the end of the day, it's hard to be the boss, so to speak.
Exactly.
And the way that you're talking and describing it with your team, you're not looking to be per se the boss. You're trying to allow people to utilize their skills in a certain way,
Exactly.
even though you're giving them the tools that they need to have to make this happen. But like you said, they have a responsibility as well, and you can't be there to babysit somebody when they can't do their part. And respecting the business itself and realizing that this is a business. This is not something
Exactly.
you play around with. And, and that comes with the territory, and I think
Right.
a lot of times we have to remind ourselves as business owners that we chose this. So
Right.
when you make these choices in life, those are the things that you're going to have to deal with. And all a part of being a business comes with the heartaches. But like you said, at the end of the day, when you can see the joy on these ladies' faces that, hey, they've made their accomplishments, they're doing more than they could ever imagine. And in reality, it's almost like re-looking at yourself in the beginning when you see and hear these stories from the other women that are a part of your team, because that was once you, so to speak, And,
Exactly.
So, I think, like I said, what you're offering is phenomenal. And so it's kind of explain to me, or just share some information, that if there was any woman today that wanted to come up to you and just talk to you about business, what idea would you give them?
You mean if they wanted to start their own business?
Yes. It doesn't matter, what type of business, but what type of resource or ideas would you share with them?
Hands down, you got to be determined. I have on a regular basis, I have a lot of women come to me and say, hey, I knew you when the business was, getting 2-3 events a month, and now you guys are doing 15 to 20 events a month. I'm so proud of you. I have some girls that have been working with me since 2014, where they were only getting called to do events every once in a blue moon, and now I'm calling them every weekend, scheduling and booking them every weekend. Mm-hmm. And one thing I can say that I continuously say is that it's not easy. It's not easy. It's scary. It's scary when you want to start your own venture, and not a lot of people are going to really support and believe in you, but you can't let anything get in your way. You have to stay determined, and you can't give up. And there's been days when I thought that I just didn't want to do this anymore, and maybe I wasn't cut out to do it. And you can't let thoughts like that get in your head, because they'll eat you up. And if you share those thoughts with anybody else, they'll just snowball into an effect that'll just be not beneficial for you. And so you have to focus. And that's another key, focusing on what it is that you're trying to do and what it is that you need to do to get that accomplished. I cannot stress that enough, on how I've had to spend many days and hours by myself trying to figure out, well, I know what I want, but how do I get that? How do I create that? How do I open that lane up? How do I allow that? And it's not easy. The answers are never in front of you. If everything was that easy for everyone to have, everything laid out for them constantly, then everybody would be a successful business owner. But that's unfortunately not the case. You have to go digging. You have to do research. You have to find other people who are supportive and who can help you and who are going to lead you in the right direction. And then you have to do something with those tools that are given to you that you find. You have to make it happen. You have to spend time. When I was juggling my own business with my part-time job, which it went from full-time to part-time so that I could focus on Creme de la Creme. And I was trying to make ends meet for a transitional period. And it was frustrating, because at one point I just realized that this will never take off unless I give it my everything, my all. And it's true. Once I quit the job and felt freaked out because now I don't have a steady income coming in, I have to make Creme de la Creme work. It did start to take off. It's like God works in mysterious ways. I mean, of course, praying and all that stuff is a nice way to help you, feel motivated and feel inspired on a daily basis. But it takes more than prayer to get things off the ground. You have to put in footwork, blood, sweat, and tears. And as soon as I stopped worrying about where's my next check coming from, and started focusing on how can I make my business successful, it started to happen. And I just get goosebumps when I talk about it, because I try to share this experience with every woman that I come across, because I want every woman to feel that. I want every woman to know you can do anything you want to do. It's hard and it takes work. You got to be focused and determined, but you can make it happen. There's a million excuses in the world, but the biggest thing holding you back is yourself. And once you let go of the fear yeah, once you let go of the fear and push and persevere through and stay determined and focused, things start to open for you. Things start to, open up and unravel, and you start to find your way and get on your path. And there's no greater feeling than that.
That's right. Yeah. I couldn't say that any better than what you just, proclaimed there, that at the end of the day, like you said, I love what you said though, about the part that you had to quit worrying about when am I going to get my next paycheck? Because at the end of the day, when you're running a business, it's really not about getting a paycheck.
Exactly.
There's not that expectation. Oh my gosh, every 2 weeks is going to be there to my, account. I can do what I need to do. But you made a decision that, at this point, I got to do what I have to do to make it. And if I sit up here and worry about counting numbers, about how I'm going to move forward, you weren't going to get any benefit from that. And so your desire and determination is the reason why you're where you're at today.
Absolutely.
And that's phenomenal. And, like you said, you can have all the blessings in the world, and we are all thankful for what God provides and gives us, the guidance that we have, but nothing's going to fall from the sky.
Right.
If you don't get up every day and do your part, you're going to be right where you started at. So
Exactly.
I love your grind. I mean, you are on it, and it's just, like I said, a phenomenal concept. I just never thought about, seeing or hearing of something of this content until I actually seen it in front of my face. I was like, wow, where did this young lady come from? And I don't think I talked to you for 5 minutes. I was like, I need to interview you.
Yeah, cool, man. It's like we kind of created our own lane, bartending for mobile events. It's getting bigger, and it's getting more in high demand. I think that's part of why we're growing at a rapid rate. But it's definitely was, like you said, not reinventing the wheel, just tweaking it a little bit. Bartenders have been around since the beginning of time, but going off and doing, personalized events and, building relationships with people. And now people find it like, hey, I'm having a party and I usually just bartend myself or put the alcohol on the table and let the guests serve themselves. But I think I want to have a professional bartender come in with some skills and talent and deck my bar out and make it beautiful and have a special menu. And so it's awesome that people are, it's not a necessity by any means. It's definitely, an extra quality to an event that people add, but it's becoming a necessity nowadays where, we're kind of bulldozing through and making our own lane, kind of jumping off the other lane that was already there. But I feel proud that we're kind of busting walls down and creating our own lane in some ways.
Yeah, and like I said, it's phenomenal. And the way the world runs today, everybody wants instant everything, and people are spoiled. But the type of spoiling they're getting and having something so unique and special as this, I think is phenomenal. Because like you said, being able to just sit at home, we all got our own, bottles or whatever, in our home to drink. But it makes a huge difference when you feel like you're being served, and when people make you feel good about what it is that you're doing or having at that particular event. And that's one thing I can say, that when I met you at the other event, that was the one thing I liked the most, is that you made people feel special at that moment, just by making a specific drink. Because I don't even remember what it was I had, but I was like, I don't know what I want, but you made something special and it was perfect for me, and I felt great the rest of the night,
Awesome.
And that was the thing I loved about it. Yeah, it was just that moment to where I didn't have to feel like I had to struggle. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have the same basic wine or this or that, but it was just the way you handled everything that really stood out for me, and then watching other people have that same experience. So, congratulations on what you're doing, and please keep up the good work and stay out there. And I'm absolutely going to be sending people your way, because I love this concept, and I think that you are going to be the next big thing, and bigger than yourself than you could possibly imagine doing this business.
Oh, that means so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really, really do.
You are welcome, because like I said, I've seen from my own two eyes, and I'm one type of person that when I believe in something and see it for myself and have the opportunity to experience, and I know what it's like. Like I said, that's why I've been so excited about trying to get this interview done. I'm like, yes, we're finally here.
I've been excited too, so I'm appreciative of that, for real.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So to end this up a little, tell me how the listeners can get a hold of you.
Well, please feel free to, you can check out our website. It's a beautiful website. It offers a lot of information. You can also get an instant inquiry if you're having an event or a reception or anything that's coming up that you would like to get a quote for a bartender for. The website is www.cremedelaCremebartenders.com. We also get a lot of followings and inquiries from our social media. Instagram seems to be the biggest hit for us right now. You can find us at Creme de la Creme Bartenders. And we're also on Facebook, and it's the same at Creme de la Creme Bartenders. Also, our phone number, people call us off the internet, and they're easy. It's easy. If you Google us, our page will come up, and you'll be able to find us several ways on that.
Okay. Excellent. So I want to thank you again for coming out tonight. Do you have any last words for the listeners?
No, I just want to say I appreciate everyone who's listening. We're more than happy to talk to anybody else who has more questions about this interview or who's interested in joining the team. And I'd like to thank you, Kimberly, for having us and showcasing us. We feel really, really proud to be a part of your show, and we look forward to the next one.
Awesome, and you're welcome. And like I said, it is my pleasure. And again, I thank you for coming on tonight. For everyone else, you can hear us on Spreaker at www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. We're here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can also find us through the WSBI website, which is www.wsbillc.com. You can also visit us at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But until then, you all enjoy the rest of your evening.